What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with the Sports Cards Dope Podcast. And today I want to talk about an announcement PSA just made that could literally change sports card collecting, comps, all of the above. Like it could just dominate this hobby 100% is what they're doing. Not 100%, but like in the 80, 90%. And it's a big deal. And I don't want to be hyperbolic about it, but I think it's a big deal. So what we're going to talk about is PSA announcing that they are now, when you like submit to grade, you know, you have the option to send them back to your house or sell them directly on eBay through PSA's eBay account. They're saying they're going to release a button where you can choose to sell them directly to PSA. They grade my card, it pops up what they think is the value, and then they will sell, and that's connected through Card Ladder, which they own. And they're going to, it's not a third party, it's their party. You know what I mean? The noises are coming from inside the house. And the rumor is, I don't know if it's confirmed, that they're going to offer up to 90% of what they deem as the Card Ladder value. And so that means that people can grade, and again, no fees, no waiting, just straight cash. And while it has a lot of pros, there are some chances it could have some cons. And I want to talk about it, and I would love to get your thoughts in the comments if you're on YouTube or Spotify. But I'll be honest, this is a long intro, but it's a long intro because this could be one of the biggest shifts we see in the sports card collecting hobby since grading itself. So hit them with that intro. Tyler in the future editing this episode. PSA is now giving sellers an instant cash out option whenever they get their grades finalized with PSA. They are offering what they're saying is around 90% of market value according to Card Ladder data, which again, collectors owns PSA and Card Ladder. This essentially expands PSA's role from the grader and vaulter to the reseller, because it just came out. They've said they vaulted in just like under a year, maybe just over a year. They vaulted 1 million cards with an M. And now they're talked about doing their, own, like I call them slab pack still, because shout out Arena Club. What's up, my guys? But what is it? The Arena Club on their website, it says home of the original slab pack. Now PSA took that. And now PSA is taking buy it now option or sell it now options whenever you grade with them. Here's the big question with this. Does this increase liquidity and efficiency for, people that want to sell cards or bulk submitters? Or does it even further tilt the balance of power too far into one company's hands? And so that's kind of the recap, but I want to give you my 3 thoughts and potential implications on the sports card hobby based on this news. Okay, so the first one is the liquidity and market making. With this, it's very similar to what we've seen in the past 5 or 6 years that's happened with like Zillow and Open Door. Like you can list houses on Zillow. Like we have rentals, we list stuff for rent, and we list stuff to sell on there. Well, Zillow's gone in and bought a bunch of those houses. Like literally you list your house, and if Zillow, they're the one you list it through, they get first crack at it. And if you want the convenience or the guarantee of selling it, you can just sell it to them for a little bit less than what they think the value is. And now Zillow has it. And what we've seen and happening in that industry is Zillow will buy all these houses and turn them into rentals around that area, or maybe they're selling them. And then once they own enough, they can now adjust the comps in that area. They can now make the houses sell higher because they won't sell unless it sells for a certain amount, which makes all their other stuff go up in value. Or if they rent, they turn them into rentals, they can now charge the rent higher, and they essentially have the monopoly of that area. And again, housing market is a lot closer to sports card market, except for they don't usually start houses at $1 unless it's like a foreclosure auction. It's a lot closer because we base a lot on comps. That's exact same terminology they use in housing market, in the real estate market. Like they base it on comps. Okay. Now, granted, we just had an appraiser literally 20 minutes ago, and an appraiser just got done appraising our some of our duplexes to like redo our loans, set them on permanent. And that appraiser, goes in, and they're a paid person that we pay the bank to pay them, and everybody gets money from us. And that appraiser, who's a certified professional appraiser, goes in and looks at the comps, looks at the house, looks at the square footage, which really they're just doing the comps and square footage. And then they're doing a little bit quick math, little algebra 1, and then they're telling us what our duplex is worth or our house is worth. We're doing that now. The only difference is We don't have like certified sports card comp appraisers, which honestly is a fantastic idea to have somebody to kind of help regulate that. I was on the Hobby Handbook podcast. Check it out. It's really awesome. Alex from Clever Cuban Cards in the Sports Card Nonsense Network, Media Network. Check it out. They're amazing. Second best podcast in the game. First is Sports Cards Nonsense. Third is mine, and it's not true, but I will lie to your face and say it is. So with those what was I saying? I don't even know. I'm just going to move on. So with these comps, like if we had a certified appraiser that could like come in and do these comps and like adjust. Oh, I know what it was. Sorry. Clicked in on Clever Cuban, on Alex's podcast, Hobby Handbook. He asked me like, what's one thing you would change about sports card hobby? And I said, comps. Like we need to figure this out. It's insane. Like Pokemon has TCG Player where you can just scan it and like that's what it's worth. Doesn't matter what's selling on eBay. That's what you list the card at, and it's so much easier. And yes, you can sell it for less, but that's what the values are. I ended up buying a collection. I'm looking at it right now. I bought a collection, and has a bunch of like rare Beanie Baby cards from the 90s. They're not worth anything. They're worth 1988 Donruss levels. You know what I'm saying? But I went into like a couple of the Facebook groups. I was like, hey, how do I price these? And they said, hey, go to this website. The website looked like it was made in 1993 on like Angel Fire's free websites. And I went in and it was like, it was just somebody's website where they listed prices. And I'm like, this is what this entire community bases the value on. That's insane to me. But with cards, it's like everybody chooses how they want to rate comps and what's based on, and buy it nows versus auction versus, auction houses versus, parallels. Like it's all crazy and all over the place. But what PSA is essentially doing with this is as the one telling you what it's worth as the buyer, and then you being able to sell it immediately for like ease of use. Don't have to wait on it to get shipped. Don't have to take it to a show. Don't have to buy a hotel. Nothing. You just sell it. Boop, done. And then give you the money on it. That adds a level of ease, but also it adds a huge amount of control to a company who is going to make money on this. They're going to make money on this. It just mirrors that instant buyer in the homes and house market. Convenience will very often win. And we know this with everything. Like we'll pay an extra $40 for a $5 Taco Bell order because DoorDash brings it to our door and we don't got to get up and leave and we can watch our movie. Convenience is going to win. But long term, what that does is it centralizes the power in one middleman, and that's PSA in our account. So in the short term, I think it's great for like bulk submitters, flippers, people who need a steady cash flow. They're going to shows, they can look and see what's gradable, and then they can send stuff off in bulk and then make some money there and get some margin. But you're just putting everything in the hands of this company. Long term, PSA becomes the market maker. They are setting the floors on all these, on the price floors on all these cards. Like they're going to have the market. They're going to own it, and they're going to choose what everything's worth. I actually got the idea for this episode from, check out his account. He's awesome. Collectibles Guru, does a really great job. He did this whole podcast in like less than a minute, so probably just watch his video. But one of the things he said was, and one of the questions he had was, will these sales, like if I go in and I submit a Jared McCain Prism Silver rookie, and it goes on there and it gets a PSA 10, and they're like, hey, do you want to, it's worth $200 on eBay or what the recent comps are. And they say, we'll give you $180 right now for it. And I say, sure. And I sell it. Does that $180 purchase go into Card Ladder? I mean, of all the ways to verify a sale, that's a very clear sale because the company that's verifying it is the company that bought it. So do they now put the value at 180? And does the next person that gets a Jared McCain PSA 10 silver, is their value now, what would that be? I don't know, like 162, because it's now 90% of the 180. And does it keep lowering it, or do they put it in at a $200 value even though they only paid 180? Or do they not put it in at all? That's a big question that I would love personally to get answered, because it could really affect comps. Because Card Ladder, in my opinion, is the best way to go and verify sell-throughs. And that's Tyler's opinion. Sponsored by Card Ladder. Wish it into existence. Card Ladder, send me a check. Nope. Okay, that's fine. I'll literally just keep saying not sponsored by Card Ladder unless Card Ladder wants to pay me. Holla at your boy. I really think it's great. And that's why I like working with companies that I'm going to promote whether they pay me or not. So the number two thought is it's a conflict of interest, and it's essentially vertical integration of this hobby. It's a clear parallel to like credit ratings. And even like, how like Amazon has Amazon Basics, like you go in and like, oh, I want to buy an Amazon Basic. Like that's essentially them they're the middleman in getting you the products. So like they'd be like the wholesale, like these other companies ship their products to them in their warehouse, and then they're the middleman to send those products to you. What Amazon does is they go in, they use all their like algorithms and their numerical data, and they're like, what's selling the most? What would be advantageous for us financially? Like, oh, people are buying a lot of backpacks, just regular backpacks, and they can go buy it from this company for $40, but we can go in and make them for $8 each. And then we can have our own Amazon Basics. And then they push their bag, which is very similar to the one that they've been selling the most. And then now you go in, it's, pushed to the front. It's Amazon Basics. It's cheaper. They put it less than the other one. Just a good quality. Like it's the same thing. They're all made in the same factories. And so that's essentially them cutting out that other side of it. And that's what PSA is doing. They're cutting out a lot of these companies that are doing this and even certain dealers. And, they're becoming essentially both the referee and the player. They're the person grading your card, so they make the call on it, and then they're buying it. So they're telling you, this is how good we think this is, which we know they're not huge on transparency and grading. They're like, this is what we think this is grade. And then based on that, money, daddy, like, give us how much we think it's worth. Like, they're choosing. Like, they could go in if they want. I don't know if they would. I doubt they would. But if they wanted to, they could be like, this is a PSA 10. And they look at it and they go, no, let's make it an 8. And now they can get it for $2,000 less if it's a rare card. And then as soon as they say it's an 8, they can crack it and then resubmit it, and then they can grade it a 10. Like they could if they wanted to. Like you're giving so much trust into this company that is not known for their transparency or their priority of putting the customer first. I'm definitely not getting sponsored with Card Ladder now. But that's just not PSA's thing. Like SGC, one of their top 3 values was customer service. I wouldn't put customer service in PSA's top 3 values. I just wouldn't put it up there. And if you disagree, you might need to look in the mirror, take a long look, and see if you're a PSA fanboy, which is fine if they make you more money because I agree with PSA, PSA's king. Go ahead, that's fine. But PSA ain't never done nothing for you except for upcharge you, so keep that in mind. All right, and I'm fine. Again, I'm fine with PSA. I rock with PSA. I love SGC. They're owned by the same company, okay? Like, I've got cards that are being shipped to me right now from PSA, including some Jared McCain silvers. And I've got other cards that they're still grading. So I hope this comes out after they get those grades locked in. But like they're longtime watchers of the pod. I don't know. But I think that what we're doing is we're giving them a say in the value of the card. And then they have the first shot at buying that card. And I just feel like it's a lot of power. And it could change the trust in grades, PSA grades, and in comps and what we feel like these PSA driven transactions, public, hidden, whatever, like who's in control here? Like it's definitely not us as the buyers, it's them as the grade, the referee and the player. And so it'd be like MJ, we will send that clip of Michael Jordan where he's in a game and something happens and he tells the ref like, no, that was a foul or that wasn't a foul, something. He corrected the ref. The ref goes, okay, MJ, I trust you. And the ref made the call based on MJ. Like, that's what we're doing. Like, MJ's wearing a white and black striped shirt, and he's making the calls, and he's getting to shoot the shots, too. And that's what PSA's doing. And number 3, this is an observation. It's almost like a pawn shop meets Wall Street. That's a pawn. Okay, so let me break this down. It's a pawn shop meets Wall Street, and here's why. There's 3 things. They're quietly merging 3 models. All right, number 1, they're a pawn shop. They instant liquidity at a discount. You need money? Send it in, boom. Money will put in your account, no fees. Instant liquidity. So they are the pawn shop you're selling to. All right. Number 2, they are the stock exchange. They're the ones recording the trades, setting benchmarks, and creating like a sense of what the live pricing is for these cards. They're choosing the value. So they are the stock exchange. They tell you what it's worth. It's this entity that just gets to decide the value, because they own the company. And then the next thing, and because here's the thing, are they doing it off the last Card Ladder sale or the last 3 sales or the last 10 sales? And if it hasn't sold in, say I get a rare card graded, it hasn't been graded in a year and a half or hadn't been sold in a year and a half. What's it worth? I bought this. I'm benching this in every video because I love it. This Kobe EX credentials. I bought that for $8,000 from Adam Gray. Okay. In the past 6 months, I think there have been 4 sales. One went for $7,400. One went for around $8,000. One went for $9,000. One went for, I think, $15,000. And another went for almost $10,000. What's the comp on that? If I cracked this and sent it in and it graded authentic, the same as all those I just named, Which comp is it? They decide. They're the stock exchange. So pawn shop, instant liquidity. Stock exchange, they pick the value. And 3, they're also the casino. They're the dealer and the house. Like they're choosing. I mean, they have the edge. They have the 100% edge, and it's all in their algorithm and what they feel like. If they can do the math, they're not going to do anything they're not making money on. So you know that whenever they do their repacks and all that, like they're going to make money on it. Like, and then they're going to pick and decide, and it's just they just keep chopping at levels and knocking out other middlemen and just taking over and controlling even more of it. So I don't know. If we're Tyler, let's get into Tyler's opinion. I want to give you all that, and that's kind of just thoughts on it. But this is my opinion. Like if you were like, Tyler, what's your overall thoughts on it? There's a philosopher that I listen to sometimes. I say that very loosely with some recent comments he's made, but let's say this. There's a philosopher from the early 2000s, okay, not current. And he goes by the name of Kanye West, okay? Gosh, that was really dangerous how I set this up. He said one time, no one man should have all that power. You're giving this entire hobby's value, sales, like you're giving so much control over something that is very much ran off of last verified comps. You're giving so much of that power to them. And, you know, if you Uncle Ben this thing, with great power comes great responsibility. I don't know. Just who are you loyal to, PSA? What master do you serve? And they serve the master of making money. Every company needs to make money. I get that. But there's some that will sacrifice some of their money to help benefit the industry they're in and or the people that they serve. And so I hope PSA does that. Again, I got upcharged $150 because their auto scan feature messed up and they couldn't, in their system, combine my 2 orders to give me the bulk value. And so because they messed up in scanning and they couldn't combine those orders, they charged me an extra $150. And I talked to 2 different support people, and they left me on red after the last time I talked to them. So I'm not saying that they are going to be, I'm not saying it's going to be good or bad. I just long-term, I'm worried and how much power they have. And it's just going to give them more control over the market. And if you're okay with that, you're going to love it. You're going to be great with it. It's cool. You can send your cars in, get them graded, sell them at 90, take the money and go do the same thing, you know, rinse and repeat. But over time, you're giving more and more of your control to them. And I mean, we've already seen it. Like SGC, they bought the second biggest grader, sports car, not TCG, but sports car grader in the space. Been slowly chopping away. Again, starting very low at like under 10% of the market. And they've been slowly getting up to where they had 25%, and they bought them, and then they just recently, they spent a year letting them pretend like they're running on their own, and then they just cut it. So if that's any indicator to where the priorities are and what they want to do, I think we can all learn some from it. That's my opinion, though. That's just Tyler's opinion. I would love to know your thoughts. If you're on YouTube, check it out in the comments. If you are, on the Spotify, I think there's comments there. If you're in the Apple Podcast, I love you. You're great. Thank you for being there. Thank you all so much for listening. Be kind, have fun, and never stop collecting. Sports cards are dope, and so are you. Later, y'all.